It's such a powerful day, whether you're Christian or used to be Christian. Energetically, starting from about this time onward, we are setting in motion something that's not quite understood as an opportunity, I believe, in our culture. And at the same time, we all go through what is now starting in the Christian ritual of life. And that is this Paschal mystery. This Paschal mystery is the shining experience of how all creation is moving into the fullness of divinity and the unexpected process that is. I mean, think about this. So we've got the traditional story of somebody that is considered very holy by God, by some, prophet by others, but he seems to be undeniably kind, compassionate, and have extraordinary healing powers, along with many other gifts. And this person, because of who he is, ends up being betrayed, ends up being crucified, and then experiences rising into new life, that the divinity of his being could not stay separate from his humanity, but his humanity burst forth. That's the traditional story. But what we've got there is the classic story for all of us. We come into this world so filled with brightness and learn early on, usually very early on, that this world doesn't quite match the brilliance of our spirit and the potential of who and what we can be or are. We come opening ourselves, we come into the world with this desire for being seen, and all around us, human beings don't see us. Desires to be loved, and around us, we don't find unconditional love. Desires to be celebrated, and find around us we are ignored. I mean, we could go on and on and on. And so we come in with a brightness, and that brightness, of course, finds a way to still shine. But in it is this acclamation that the world, and we're part of the world because we participate in failing to see, hear, and love, that the world isn't a place where this happens. And we have this contrast of, but we're made for this, and it doesn't happen. And it sets us up for what is modeled here to be a Paschal mystery, meaning that we end up going through a death of something about ourselves, only to experience that that part of ourselves that is divine can never die. That is part and parcel of the human experience. And whether we acknowledge it consciously, whether we talk about it in different words and terms, the general human experience can be framed in that way. We have other parts to our experience, but this is one of them. This is one of them. And I've never met a human being that didn't experience some element of what we call the Paschal mystery. So today energetically opens us up to that. And today's meditation is actually going to be a form of prayer. To get us ready for that, I have two more words. We are actually going to work with the fifth and the sixth chakra. And then tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Central Time, we will work with the seventh chakra. So for the fifth chakra, I chose the words that are attributed to Jesus, I thirst. Your fifth chakra right here. Knowing the truth, speaking the truth, giving voice to the truth. Yes. Yeah. And here you've got an individual that is hanging on a cross, saying something that is incredibly simple and human, honest and vulnerable. Our throat chakras can be blocked or have so much trauma when we are not nurtured or surrounded by the support to use our voices, to speak with simplicity, honesty, and vulnerability. And we can spend years learning how to use our voice, free up our voice, heal the blocks that leave us feeling like it's not okay to speak. I thirst. Here was an individual that was being killed by people who turned against him or were always against him. And he had come to such a place of freedom that he could simply say, I thirst. He could simply say it. I thirst. I thirst. I thirst. He is an example, or this story is an example, that when we speak our truth, with simplicity, with honesty, with vulnerability, it doesn't mean that we're going to be met or heard or responded to or even receive what it is we're expressing we need or desire. But we will receive a gift, and that is the inner consolation of opening to our truth and letting the chips fall. We will move energy within ourselves. There is reward. There is a way we're met. There is a way we're heard. There is a way we're seen. There is a way we're responded to. And it arises from within. You can take time after this meditation and reflect on when was a time when you spoke your truth. And even if you weren't met, you experienced a when was the time that that happened for you? I can say that it happens all the time for me, that when I speak my truth and let the chips fall, all good things happen. All good things. They may be different than what I thought, but they happen. Fifth chakra. And then we've got the sixth chakra. So I'm going to, this comes in the Gospel of John, chapter 19. It comes right after it in verse 28. After Jesus says, I thirst, or I am thirsty, they soaked a sponge in wine vinegar and put it on a stalk of a hyssop plant and lifted it to his lips. And when he received this drink, he said, it is finished. I believe that this phrase goes with the sixth chakra because it's an admittance of insight. It's an admittance of completion. It's an admittance of, I have done all I was meant to do, and I am here. It is finished. And it comes as well, opening the third eye, opening the sixth chakra, that we can look out upon not just our lives, but upon anything in the world, and we can see it for what it is. We can see it for what it is, and what liberation is in that. In that moment, couldn't Jesus have easily said, what do I do now? I thought this was going to end differently. What is going to happen? He could have hosted a whole series of conundrums and doubts and uncertainties in his final hours. But he gives a great gift in these words. He recognizes reality for what it was. And what was it? He had given his all in life. He had shown up, and his life was complete. You see, he was able to penetrate beyond the accomplishment of a mission, beyond bearing influence, beyond results, beyond results. And my experience of that phrase was not despair, but was a certain contentment and equanimity. I remember experiencing that when I had some key messages that came when I was leaning towards, or when I was in the process of leaving my monastic vows. Oh, I hadn't left the vows yet, but I was right in the process of leaving the monastery. And there was a certain moment, and this will be in my book, I don't want to take this time to tell the whole story, when I had recognized that I was going to be called to leave. And I had experienced inner illuminations around that there was a very, very expansive moment. It happened in Wisconsin, looking up at a snowy sky. And I had this direct experience. It is finished. It is finished. And in it, yes, I wept, but it was not the weeping of a trying to hold on to something, or a despairing that it didn't work out, or it wasn't anything. It was that contentment. And whether you are at a moment like that for yourself right now or not, what it does point to is the freedom that comes about when we open our sixth chakra to see things for what they are. To see things for what they are. So today's meditation it's going to be an interesting practice, but it's going to be a form of using our throats to express intention and prayer from our insight. And I'm going to start the meditation. I'll set the stage and we'll work with the chakras. And then I'm going to start it by reading a blessing prayer. By John O'Donohue, and also a poem by Malcolm Guite. So both tremendous mystics and poets and writers. And even though John's is considered a poem as well, he starts every line with the word may. So there's something of blessing, and blessing is an utterance that we might say is an intentional prayer, whether it's a praying to call in something, whether it's a prayer to something, whether it's a prayer for something, whether it's a setting intentions for whatever your relationship to prayer could be that's life-giving. For him, it comes in the form of like a blessing utterance. And after we set the stage with these couple pieces, the opening of the chakras, the reading of Malcolm Guite, and then the moving into John O'Donohue, I am going to lightly continue with prayer-filled statements that begin with the word may. But what I'd like for you to do is, keeping yourself on mute, to offer your own verbal attestations of longings or prayers for yourself, for humanity, whatever it might be. And in order for you to feel easy, I'll give little pauses between my statements. You can talk right over me. It can be like mine as a backdrop, or you can wait for the pauses just so you don't feel like you're in conflict in this form of contemplative practice. So, all right. Well, I invite you to close your eyes. And bring your focus to the throat and the third eye. Keeping your focus on these two chakras, if you've not already done so, sense or imagine them opening front and back. You can even place your fingertips on either one of them. I'm going to do that. And sense or imagine the light and the life force that are at the center of both of these. And if you wish, set the intention that your throat chakra and your third eye may be cleansed with divine light and love. Let the hands relax. Let the words of Malcolm Geet come into your space. The words fall like gentle rain. The world is charged with the grandeur of God. It will flame out like shining from shook foil. It gathers to a greatness like the ooze of oil, crushed. Why do humans then now not wreck their rod? Generations have trod, have trod. And all is seared with trade, bleared, smeared with toil. And wears humanity's smudge and shares humanity's smell. The soil is bare now, nor can foot feel being shod. And for all this, nature is never spent. There lives the dearest freshness deep down things. And though the last lights off the black west went, O morning, at the brown brink eastward springs, because spirit over the bent world broods with warm breast and with bright wings. We open ourselves with the confidence that nature is never spent and that spirit hovers with warm breast and bright wings. And we open ourselves that we too might be voice and insight in this world that is still growing to understand its divinity. I begin our prayer with John O'Donohue. May you listen to your longing to be free. May the frames of your belonging be generous enough for your dreams. May you arise each day with a voice of blessing whispering in your heart. May you find a harmony between your soul and your life. May the sanctuary of your soul never become haunted. May you know the eternal longing that lives at the heart of time. May there be kindness in your gaze when you look within. May you never place walls between the light and yourself. May you allow the wild beauty of the invisible world to gather you, mind you, and embrace you. And with our eyes closed in our own way, we each give voice into this sacred meeting to our prayer for ourselves, for the world. There's no need to heed my prayers. I add them as you add yours. May I know what it tastes like to be fully free in mind and heart and body. May I be illumined in love to the point where only love exists. A human beings who despair experience reason to rest in hope. May the imbalance in nature be balanced. May human beings who bear power yield to this gift with humility and honesty. May every human being know they are loved, wanted, cherished. May the spirit that broods over the world flood the world with the energy of transformation and true healing. May all fear be cast out by love. May memories that haunt be refreshed with the presence of the divine in all things. Where there is hatred, may there be love. May all prayers be answered. May consolation that is part of our birthright reach every human longing, every animal longing, every plant longing. And as we bring this contemplative practice to a close, perhaps hold in your heart for a moment all the prayers offered here, all the prayers uttered through all ages and all times. And with that, I invite you to bring your palms together in front of your third eye. And press the thumbs upon the third eye. And very slowly bow in gratitude for the opportunity for us to meet for such powerful reasons. And when you are ready, open your eyes. Blessings, my friends.